Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. You know, a lot of things can happen in 10 years, and in this case, really this experiment has been going on for, I'd say, at least 2 decades at this point, so let's call it 20 years. But anyways, over that kind of time horizon, a lot can happen, and a lot does happen. And in the modern day and age, everything is logged, quantified, organized, put into a database, analyzed and overanalyzed, and so, you know, back then a lot of the debate was feelings and emotions and biases kind of dominating the conversation, but nowadays we could stick straight to the facts. We could ignore all the emotional la-di-da narratives and stick straight to the facts as all of it's been collected over the last however many years. But yeah, no more bullshit narratives, no more emotion, now just straight to the facts. Well, let's just say the facts don't exactly help justify the left-wing view. The whole mass migration scam that's been forced upon the Western world by these globalist elitist conglomerates has now officially imploded. And interestingly enough, Denmark seems to actually be at the core of the conversation. It's no longer about these naive platitudes that the left is always pushing. The conversation's no longer about alt-right racism. No, now it's about the facts. It's about the data and statistics. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I first want to start off with this little Will Kane segment on Fox News. He's covering Denmark and their recent shift on immigration. They've now done a complete 180, going the opposite direction of the European Union, and they've implemented some policies here to cut down asylum seekers by 90%. Take a look.
Denmark has made it inhospitable for migrants and asylum seekers to Denmark. What are they doing? Well, they've extended the process, lengthened the amount of time till someone can gain permanent residency in Denmark. You can't just show up and all of a sudden become Danish. They've made housing much less accommodating, much less welcoming. They've even threatened to confiscate jewelry and valuables of would-be refugees in order to pay those refugees' bills. Now, Denmark is doing this because they don't want to look like the UK and France. Take a look at asylum applications in Europe over the last 10 years. Take a look first at Great Britain. In 2015, just under 40,000 asylum claims. That spikes above 108,000 some 10 years later. Same thing in France, from 70,000 to 130,000 in that time frame. But look at Denmark. It's gone down from just under 21,000 to just over 2,000 in that same time frame.
You know, that one quote I think really tells the whole story. Quote, they don't want to look like the UK or France. And that right there is the whole ball game, folks. At first it was all these la-di-da platitudes, all these naive notions. Everyone's equal. Nationalism is racist and you should essentially surrender your country, your heritage, your traditions, everything, and adopt this idea of a globalist post-national state. But obviously the world's a whole lot more complex than that. And obviously we know there's different types of humans, there's different types of cultures, and not all of them are compatible. And well, that reality seemingly has completely decimated these naive notions of these melting pot post-national utopias. And nation after nation are jumping off the bandwagon, jumping off the train, because clearly this train is headed straight for a freaking cliff. And it all comes back to a very uncomfortable truth that, of course, the left is constantly seething at. You're not allowed to look at statistics, but look at the freaking statistics. This is from Denmark. Yeah, here's the uncomfortable truth. Not all source countries are the same. This is a violent crime graph, and you've got all foreign nationalities represented, and well, you'll notice a very clear pattern. Migrants from certain regions in the world commit crimes at massively disproportional rates compared to other regions. The difference mostly between Asian countries, European countries, and then of course, Central African, Northern African, and Middle Eastern. Look at the disparity. And so I guess now the question is, does this matter? Are we allowed to set up our immigration policy in a way that prioritizes those coming from the bottom nations, the ones whose immigrants seem to mesh well in our societies, not commit crime? In many cases, like look at the Japanese, for instance, committing crimes at lower levels than actual natives. Or must we follow the path of cultural relativism and say, nope, no statistics, I'm blind to it all, everyone is equal, and we should continue allowing the masses to invade our nations? Well, I think the answer is pretty obvious now, isn't it? And clearly it's not about race. If you got Group A that comes in, works, pays taxes, barely shows up on crime stats, genuinely wants to be a part of your society, they're contributing, law-abiding, they're an asset, they make your country better, well then I think most people don't have an issue with a little bit of that kind of immigration. But then you've got Group B that comes in and is massively overrepresented in violent crime. They're not contributing. Huge portions of these communities are taking advantage of public benefits. In many cases, there's mass fraud rings that are going beyond just taking advantage personally of the benefits. You've got problems with crime and religious extremism. Is it as simple as shut up bigot and let them all into your country? No, it really shouldn't be. And I think every nation has the right to say we are not doing this. And now based on this data, based on the facts that are being released, the data that's been collected throughout this mass migration experiment, nations are saying no, they're opting out. Denmark is saying absolutely F no. Japan is, of course, saying the same thing. They got a little bit of a taste. Their GDP is getting crushed because their birth rate is so low. Their country is borderline collapsing. And yet they experienced a fraction of what's going on in the European Union. And of course, what they're trying to bring in America. And they said, no, not happening. They saw a little bit of the results.
It's getting dark out here. It's getting real dark.
5 points ahead.
Bro, what is this? Are you crazy?
Bro! Oh! Bro!
I tell you,
Bro!
If it was in America with all the people that have guns and the crazy, super violent people, I'm sure people would be getting shot and all types of drugs and people would be stealing from each other. It would be just absolute chaos. But it's crazy because you come to Japan and... Oh, what? What?
You think I'm joking? I'll smack you here now.
It's a live stream.
You do live stream for making money. You brought it inside here.
Calm down.
Move here, move here.
Hey,
Go.
calm down.
I hate white people, you know. Go, go, go.
Hey.
You came here.
No.
I didn't ask you to come here.
Wait, you say?
俺は動画撮ってました。お兄さん買って入ってきました。
だからやめて。
どっか行ってくださいよ。No,
これ
listen,
YouTube
listen.
見てはほんまに。
I don't care.
You are recording me.
No, I'm not recording you. I'm just recording myself. You came here. Just move. ここは日本ですよ。ここは日本です
日本、
よ。
私も日本人。
あなた日本人じゃないでしょ。
そう、日本人よ。
They saw what happened on their subway systems, on the streets. They saw how mosques were now popping up all over the country, and they said no, absolutely freaking not, slamming the brakes on all of it. In other words, they saw the warning signs. And now, well, the warning sign is Denmark. It's Finland, it's Sweden, it's France, the UK, Germany. They went from very little crime to now experiencing epidemics of rapes and arson and attacks, grenade attacks, terrorist attacks, staggering increases in crime in simply a decade or two, and all that's changed is their immigration policy. Their demographics have shifted. A country has the right to import groups of people that they believe will be the most likely to assimilate, to be productive members of society, and if there are particular groups that are failing in that distinction, it's not racist to close the door. It's called self-preservation. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.